月曜日の朝、いつものように学校を避けたいトムは、予期せず手にしたチャンスに心が弾みます。しかし、その興奮もつかの間、新しいゲームと意外な親友との再会、そして新しい恋の予感に心躍らせることに。紆余曲折の末、トムの一日は意外な展開を見せます。学校という日常が予想もしなかった冒険へと変わります。
Tom tried hard to focus on his book, but his mind kept wandering. He sighed and yawned, giving up. It felt like the noon break would never come. The day was very quiet and still. Not a single breeze was in the air. It was a very sleepy day. The soft sounds of the other students studying were soothing, almost like the buzzing of bees. Far away, Cardiff Hill was visible through a haze of heat, its green slopes looking soft and purple from the distance. A few birds flew slowly high up in the sky. The only other things Tom could see were some cows, and they were asleep too. Tom really wanted to be outside or to have something interesting to do to make the time pass faster. Suddenly, Tom felt happier as he put his hand into his pocket. He didn't realize it, but he was thankful. Then, he secretly took out a small box. He opened it and let it tick out onto his desk. The tick might have been thankful too, but its thanks were short-lived. As it started to crawl away, Tom used a pin to change its path. Tom's best friend, Joe Harper, was sitting next to him. Joe had been just as bored as Tom, but now he was really interested in what Tom was doing. Tom and Joe were great friends during the week, but on Saturdays, they pretended to be enemies. Joe took a pen and started to help Tom with the tick. They both got really into it. But soon, Tom said they were getting in each other's way and not having as much fun with the tick. So, Tom put Joe's slate on the desk and drew a line down the middle to separate their sides. "Now," Tom said, "when the tick is on your side, you can touch him and I won't. But if he crosses to my side, you have to leave him alone until he goes back. Okay, start him up." Joe agreed. Soon, the tick moved from Tom's side to Joe's. Joe played with him for a bit, then the tick crossed back to Tom's side. They kept swapping sides like this. Both boys were really into the game, watching the tick move back and forth. They leaned over the slate, totally focused on the tick and nothing else. Finally, Joe seemed to be winning more. The tick tried different paths, looking like he was getting nervous just like the boys. Every time it seemed the tick would stay on Tom's side, Joe would use his pen to guide it back to his side. Eventually, Tom couldn't resist anymore. The urge was too strong, so he reached out and tried to move the tick with his pen. Joe got mad immediately. "Tom, stop touching him," Joe said. "I just want to move him a bit, Joe." "No, it's not fair. Leave him alone," Joe insisted. "I'm hardly touching him," Tom argued. "Don't touch him at all, I told you." "I will." "He's on my side of the line. Joe, it's my tick, isn't it? I should be able to do what I want with him," Tom protested. "It doesn't matter. He's on my side now, and you're not allowed to touch him," Joe replied firmly. "Well, I bet I will. It's my tick, and I'll decide what to do with him," Tom exclaimed. Tom received a huge slap on his shoulders, and so did Joe. For 2 minutes, the dust flew from their jackets as the whole school watched and enjoyed. The boys had been so focused they hadn't noticed the quiet that fell over the school when the teacher quietly walked up and stood over them. He watched them for a while before finally adding his own action to their performance. When school ended at noon, Tom rushed to Becky Thatcher and whispered to her, "Put on your bonnet and pretend you're going home. At the corner, sneak away from the others and go down the lane. I'll go the other way and do the same." So, they each went with different groups of students. Soon, they met at the bottom of the lane, and when they got back to school, they were alone. They sat together, with a slate in front of them. Tom handed Becky the pencil and helped her draw a fancy house by guiding her hand. When they got bored of drawing, they started talking. Tom felt very happy. He asked, "Do you like rats?" "No. I hate them." "Me too, if they're alive. But I mean dead ones, to swing around with a string. No, I don't really like rats at all. I like chewing gum more." "Me too. I wish I had some now." "Do you?" "I have some. You can chew it for a bit, but you need to give it back to me." They agreed, so they shared the gum and happily swung their legs sitting on the bench. "Have you ever been to a circus?" Tom asked. "Yes, and my dad will take me again if I'm good." "I've been to the circus many times. Church isn't as fun as the circus. There's always something happening there. I want to be a circus clown when I grow up." "Really? That sounds fun. Clowns look so funny with their spots." "Yes, they do. And they make a lot of money, almost $1 a day," Ben Rogers told me. "Hey, Becky, have you ever been engaged?" "What's that?" "It's like being promised to get married." "No." "Do you want to be?" "Maybe. I'm not sure." "What's it like?" "It's easy. You just tell a boy you'll only ever be with him, forever and ever, and then you kiss, and that's it. Anyone can do it." "Why do you kiss?" "Well, that's just what people do when they love each other." "Does everyone do that?" "Yes, everyone who loves each other." "Do you remember what I wrote on the slate?" "Yes." "What did I write?" "I won't tell you." "Should I tell you?" "Yes, but later." "No, tell me now." "Not now. I'll whisper it very quietly." "Tomorrow." "No, tell me now." "Please, Becky." Becky hesitated at first, but then Tom gently put his arm around her waist and whispered in her ear very quietly. After he finished, he said, "Now whisper it back to me." She was reluctant, but then she agreed. "Turn your head so you can't see, and I will tell you. But you must never tell anyone, will you, Tom?" "Promise you won't." "I promise, I really won't." "Now, Becky." Tom turned his head away. Becky leaned in close enough that her breath moved his hair and whispered softly, "I love you." Then she quickly ran away, hiding her face with her apron, and Tom chased her around the desks. Finally, she hid in a corner. Tom followed her, gently held her, and said, "Now, Becky, we just need to kiss. It's not scary at all. Please, Becky." Becky finally stopped resisting, dropped her hands, and let Tom kiss her. Her face was red from running and nervousness. Tom smiled and said, "Now we're promised to each other, Becky. You must never love or marry anyone but me, and I will do the same for you." "Yes, I will only love and marry you, Tom, and you must do the same." "Of course. That's part of being promised. From now on, when we go to school or go home, we should walk together when no one is watching. And at parties, we choose each other, because that's what people do when they are promised to each other." "It's so nice. I didn't know about this before." "Oh, it's really fun. Like when me and Amy Lawrence." Tom realized he made a mistake when he saw Becky's surprised look. "Oh, Tom, so I'm not the first girl you've promised to?" Becky started to cry. Tom quickly said, "Oh, don't cry, Becky. I don't like her anymore. Yes, you do, Tom. I know you do. Tom tried to hug her, but she pushed him away and turned to the wall, continuing to cry. Tom tried again, saying nice things, but she still pushed him away. Feeling proud and upset, Tom walked out. He waited outside, restless and uneasy, hoping Becky would come out and forgive him. But she didn't come. Feeling guilty and thinking he might be wrong, Tom found it hard to go back inside. But he did. Becky was still in the corner, crying. Tom felt really bad. He stood near her, unsure of what to do next. Then he said slowly, "Becky, I really don't care about anyone else but you." She didn't answer, just kept sobbing. "Becky," Tom said softly, "please won't you say something?" But she just kept crying. Tom took out his most precious treasure, a brass knob from a fireplace, and showed it to Becky, saying, "Please, Becky, won't you take this?" She knocked it to the ground. Then Tom left the house, walked over the hills, and didn't come back to school that day. Soon, Becky started to worry. She ran to the door, but didn't see him. She rushed to the playground, but he wasn't there either. Then she called out, "Tom! Come back, Tom!" She listened hard but heard nothing. She felt very alone and started to cry again. She blamed herself. As the other students returned, she had to hide her sadness and face a long, hard afternoon without anyone to share her feelings with.